Hey folks, what's up? I'm John Zidar. You can call me Wizzy. This is On Top and Hot, and this is Wednesday. It's September 10th. Now, what I like to do on this show is to share hot penny stocks with you. I'm a day trader, and I primarily trade stocks under $5 every day. And I'm always looking for a hot penny stock to share with y'all. Now, last week I did a special show that I've not done before called No Show, Let's Go. And I shared two stocks with you, HWH and SNTG, I believe it was. The whole point of the show was the stocks had no catalyst. There was no news, there were no filings, not that day, not the day before, not the week before. There was no current catalyst to explain why these stocks were moving on the charts. When I looked at the history of the charts, I could see they were warming up. Looked like they were ready to give more. I did that on Wednesday, I believe it was last week. And the very next day, boom, they were up 65%. That's great. I was feeling good about that. But just the other day, SNTG continued climbing and went over 1,000%. All that without any type of catalyst whatsoever. All we had was a hot chart. Well, I'm doing that again right now. I've got some no-show, let's go stocks. Stocks that really have nothing to show when it comes to catalysts. They've got no news, they've got no filings, but the charts are moving. And looking at the charts, I see heat. And I think there's more heat coming, which means money in our pockets. So I'm going to share those with you right now. First one we're looking at is ticker JBDI, JBD Holdings. JBDI is a Singapore company, finished the day at $2.37, was up over 120%, which is almost $1.30 up. Now, this is a hot penny stock on the major exchange. She's on the NASDAQ. These major exchange penny stocks come with benefits compared to the penny stocks on the OTC. First off, there's no transaction fees on the major exchange. It's free to trade your stocks. Liking that, huh? You also get to trade these pre-market, aftermarket. You never get to do that with OTC. And folks, some of the biggest runs I have ever seen, the biggest gains you'll ever see, normally happen pre-market, aftermarket because there's no halts for volatility. When a stock starts to run, it just keeps running. There's also a lot more money and a lot more volume up on the major exchange compared to the OTC, which is what traders really are looking for. And there's a lot more oversight, a lot more rules up on the major exchange, which just helps keep our investments safe by keeping the companies honest. So what is JBDI all about? Well, they tell us here that JBDI Holdings engages in the trading of reconditioned and recycled containers in Singapore and in Southeast Asia region. See, I did go over to their website, Second Life to Scrap. Let me get out of the way here. Steel drums, open top drums, plastic drums, open top plastic drums, carboys, intermediate bulk containers. All of these sort of things are what they work with. And that's really all we need to know. We don't have to go any deeper. What was the relative volume around JBDI today? Oh my God. Look at that, folks. That's incredible. That's an explosion of volume right there. She went from basically 22,000 shares a day over the last 30 days on the major exchange to over 69 million shares today. No, I can't calculate that, but that is a huge increase in volume, wouldn't you say? Share structure for JBDI, not bad. Outstanding share count is about 18 million. Don't know what the insiders own. I would subtract that from that number, and that would give me my float. Now, I do know this much. The float can't be any higher than the outstanding share count. So whatever the insiders own, it can't be any higher than 18 million. So that is the worst it can be, and that's pretty bloody good. Anything under 100 million for a float is good, in my opinion. Market cap, we are just under 20 million right now. Financials for the company. They are making money. The last 3 years, they were doing roughly 11 million, $12 million. We know that's millions because we got to add 3 zeros to any of the numbers on these charts. However, at the end of 2024, at least May, their fiscal year, they were down to 9.3 million. But they are bringing home profit every single year. They're making revenues. They're in the black. They're looking pretty good. We get no quarterly reports, but we do get a balance sheet. Ooh, not much money in the bank. Cash and cash equivalents, which is what I call the bank, we've got $190,000, right? We got to remember those 3 zeros up there. Total assets, we got 4.4 million. Total liabilities, 4 million. So we got a wee bit of stockholder equity here of about $400,000. So from a day trader standpoint, they're making money. They're in the black. We're in the black. It's not all great, but it's not bad. So it's okay. Taking a look at the disclosures now for the company. Really got nothing to share with you here. They've got disclosures. I'm sure they're relevant, but nothing current. That's going back over a month ago. So we're not going to even consider those. What we are going to consider, though, is the chart. There you go. So we got JBDI opened up to a yearly chart. Let me get rid of all these lines here for you so we can see clear as a bell. So this is the entire chart for the company. They came on the market, believe it or not, a year ago. I do believe it was September 10th last year. Came on the market at roughly $20, fell to about 18, jumped to 22, no big deal. And then about 4 days later, things just went crazy. She jumped $20 up to about $40, and she fell $20 down to about $1.50. And she ended up on the floor after all of that bouncing around. And she's been down here for a very, very long time, hitting an ultimate low of about 49 cents in March of this year. And there we are, folks. That's today's excitement, our huge jump and bump compared to all that. So this gives you an idea of where our profit margins are sitting. Now, the fact of the matter is, we could easily take these little lines right here. You see these red marks? Go on top of each one, and that right there definitely could be a support and resistance. And it could move that fast because there's not a lot of information to use here. But of course, when we get down closer to it, we'll get tighter supports and resistances. But those are sitting there ready to take off. With today's jump came a lot of volume, and all of our oscillators are going to the moon. Everything is hot. Jumping on down to our 20-day 1 hour view. Yeah, that's why I skipped the 4 hour, because it looks just like that. Flat, flat, flat. Now there actually is some bounce going from about 60 cents to $1.50. So it looks totally flat there, but there is some movement. There were some plays in there, but nothing like this. Once this started, everything changed, folks. We were at about $1 here. At the end of the aftermarket, she was up to $2.27. So she was already up over 100%, 120%. And then this morning, holy cow, at 4:08 in the morning, this thing took off. It went from roughly $2 to $14.29. And it was short-lived. It did not stay up there. It came right back down. And of course, I was in bed. Something I have to legally disclose to you, I do own JBDI. I bought it, I don't know, a few months ago. But the law says if I'm going to talk about a stock with you, I have to let you know that I own it. So I own this one. So I was a little upset when I got up this morning and saw that she had jumped that high. That was a lot of profit for me, but it never got close. And that's what everybody was waiting for today. We were all waiting for this to start running again. Fact of the matter is, as soon as I saw that, what did I do? You know what I did. I put my Fibonacci on it. I poked the very top, and then I came down here and poked the bottom, and those were going to be my supports and resistances as she started to climb. Well, she never got that much energy. That is a lot of climb. So I took that away, and we used different ones. So let's come on down to our 5-day, 5-minute. So as you can see right here, I got to get out. I got to get that high bubble out of there. We just can't see anything. So she was climbing on her 50-day MA. You see she's floating on that perfectly. Then she took this unrealized gain, came all the way back down to the 50, broke the 50, fell down to the 200, and has been scratching and tearing, clawing, trying to hang on to that 200. But the 200 is climbing ever so slightly right now, but it is climbing. Now, all of our other MAs took a huge fall here. When that went up to $14 and came back down, it jerked everything hard, and it forced everything to fall. So we had to wait for everything to start coming back up. And right right here is where we have a congestion. Right there is when all of the lines, see right there, our 200 haul, our 50-day MA, our 20-day, all of them came together in an intersection right there, which created a burst of power. And that's when we had this breakout right there, going from basically $2 up to $2.56. So we had a run there. And she is just fighting uphill. I'm waiting for the break. I'm waiting for the breakout where she's finally let free, when she finally gets wings and starts to fly. Now, how high do I think she's going to go? Well, I don't know, folks. She's got a high today of $14. She's got a high of $39.50 a year ago. She came on the market at $20. Well, we're down here at 2.5. So I'm figuring wherever she's going to go, it's a lot higher than where we are now. So I'm expecting more gains. Now, as she sits right now, I've got gains sitting on the table. And I should have probably sold some and taken some gains, but I'm actually expecting something bigger. Now, I'm not saying she's going to go all the way to 14 or 30, but I'm saying I'm expecting more. Maybe $8. I'm going to watch it, and I think you should too. So JBDI is the first no-show let's go stock you should be considering. You want another one? I got another one. So what's the next stock, Johnny? I'm glad you asked. We're taking a look at ticker MTC. This is Tech. This is a Chinese company based out of Hong Kong. She finished the day at $1.11. She was up a little more than 13%, jumping just a smidge more than 13 cents. This is another hot penny stock on the NASDAQ. So what is Tech all about? Well, they tell us that Tech, together with their subsidiaries, develops and deploys platforms that enable financial institutions to engage in securities market transactions and settlements worldwide. Getting a more basic description, they say that rivers return to the sea and hearts connect with China. High Securities, ticker MTC, was founded June 2015 and is a global financial service firm focused on investment banking and asset management services. We hold United States and Hong Kong securities brokerage licenses, allowing us to operate seamlessly across borders. That's what they do. There's a lot more to it, but I'll let you jump into it. What was the relative volume around MTC today? Another explosion. Folks, this company's been doing about 53,000 shares a day over the last 30 days on the major exchange. Today, she made it respectable and we're over 12 million shares. Folks, you cannot ignore that much extra attention being given to a stock all at one time. What is the share structure for this company? Well, it's not bad. Well under 100 million. Our outstanding share count is at 25 million. No clue what the insiders own, so I can't tell you what the float is, except to say it's not going to be over 25 million. Market cap, just about 25 million there too. Financials for MTC, big deal here. All right, let's see what we got going. Over the last 4 years, their revenues have been growing. We have jumped from basically $500,000 to just under $2 million. And they got to keep most of that as profit, $1.5 million. Looking at the quarterlies, don't get any of those. But we get a balance sheet, don't we? Cash and cash equivalents, thinking about the bank, we got about $3 million in the bank. Total assets, around $66 million. Total liabilities, about $40 million. So we have got, oh, I like the math there. We end up with about $27 million in stockholder equity. So the company's making revenues and profit. We get profit. Everything looks good. And taking a look at those disclosures, we shouldn't have anything over here because it's a no-show, no-go. Oh, we got a new filing that just came out. This was not here before I started. This looks like a financial. This could very well be a financial. Yep, first year, half year 2025 financial highlights. Revenues increased by 100% from nil to approximately 0.8 million. Gross profit increased by 100% from nil to approximately 0.6 million. Well, that's a little confusing. First off, we just read that they had revenues. So why are they saying they were at nil? And two, the financials are coming out. This is the first part of them. See back here, you got a 20F. That's the financial for a foreign company. 20F, not a 10K, not a 10Q. When you bring out a 20F, you also bring out a 6K. A little bit easier to read than the 20F. Well, we've got the 6K. We don't have the 20F yet. And this was not here when I started the video. There was no show, no go for this stock as well. But maybe the investors knew that financials were coming out. Maybe that's what had this running. And since they seem to be good, they're up 100%. Maybe that's going to be the catalyst to get this running some more. So let's go take a look at ticker MTC on the charts. So we're going to chart MTC on my free trading platform, Think or Swim. Got it opened up to a 1-day, 1-year chart with the 52-week high being back in October at $6.42 and our 52-week low in April of this year at 75 cents. And we're currently at about $1.10. Now off of this high, the price fell down to this 200 haul, which is purple when it falls and blue when it climbs. And she has been stuck near and on that 200 haul all this time, not giving any consideration or showing any inclinations of wanting to climb towards that 200 MA. We don't see any wicks pushing up towards it whatsoever. All we've got is a breakout right now out of a 200 squeeze. A 200 squeeze is a very bullish pattern when a stock is going through a trend change. When it's falling and starting to come back up, we're catching it right at that cup at the bottom. When your price is stuck between a falling 200 MA and above a 200 haul that is climbing, it is stuck between the two strongest MAs on the board, getting pinched, getting squeezed, and it doesn't like it. It wants to get out of there and it's looking for an opportunity. And it has enough strength to do that when it gets on top or above the 50-day MA like it did here. Once it got on top of the 50, she was at about $1. She ran all the way to and through that 200 up to $1.80. That's an 80% run off of that bounce right there. Hot, bullish patterns, the 200 squeeze. We had lots of volume and all of our oscillators were going to the moon. Let's jump on down to our 20-day, 1-hour view. As you can see, she's been running flat for a while. And now she is starting to climb. And look at that 9-day MA, folks. That 9-day is what she is sitting on. She isn't bouncing around. She's not that volatile. She's just steady climbing. Now what I notice here is this one big bar right here. Our solid bar is above the 9. But we have a wick that went through the 9-day, the 20-day, the 50 MA, the 200 haul, and the 200 MA. Folks, that wick went through every single MA. Why is that a big deal? In my mind, I'm picturing this as a foundation for a skyscraper. And it just went through dirt, clay, sand, rock, and sediment. It went really, really deep. That tells me it wants to go really, really high. Well, look here, folks. We watched this stock and then boom, she took off. It isn't the same day. This was my indicator telling me to watch for a big explosive run. Did we get it or not? She went from 96 cents up to $1.80. That's virtually a 100% run there. Then she came all the way back down and she is sitting on top of her 20 right about where she started with this. Is she dead? I don't think so. I think this was a setup. This is helping to pull all of the MAs up. The higher this price goes, it tugs on all the MAs. It forces them to turn up. So all of these MAs are going to start turning up now. And we just had a filing come out that I was unaware was going to come out. I'm sure the 20F is going to come out behind it. And from what we were reading, it sounds like good news. They're making money. Now, maybe we misunderstood the financials, but we didn't misunderstand the filing. The filing said they were up 100% to almost $1 million from nothing. So they're making money. The first money on the books, it sounds like. So this could be very exciting. This is going to be another one to watch tomorrow. MTC, she does have a catalyst. I didn't expect that. That is a surprise. And then we've got the other one, which was, oh my God, I can't even remember what it was now. JBDI? I think that's it. Remember, folks, I'm only sharing information with you that I have found. There is always more to know. So please do your own due diligence behind me. I am not licensed. I cannot tell you what to buy or what to sell. I can only share with you my opinions, and that's all I'm doing. Remember, the more you know, the more you're going to grow. See ya.